Welcome back, everyone, to Industry Growth Leaders. I'm your host, Michael Simon of Quantum Veil AI, and today I'm joined by Lisandro Sky of Mortgages Nations in Miami. Welcome, Lisandro.
Hi, Michael. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And for our audience, just a little bit of background here. In just 2 years, Lisandro has grown from production manager at a small brokerage to leading a team of over 20 loan officers plus internal staff with a strong focus on first-time home buyers. So, Lisandro, having said that, let's start with your journey here at the beginning. How did you get started in the industry, and what led you to where you are today?
I started in real estate in 2017. 2017, I became a realtor. So the industry always fascinated me. You know, it is the most expensive item that you're going to buy in your life.
Mhm.
So I figure, well, so how can I be a part of it? You know, I could be an insurance agent. I could be a realtor, and realtor is like the most common part of the equation, right? So I started my journey as a realtor. I figure, um, numbers was always something that come easy to me. That I'm better with number that I am with people. So 2 years in, I made the switch to becoming a lender, and I think I found my passion right here.
hmm Excellent. And you now have, 20 loan officers and 4 internal employees producing at a level you didn't even think was possible at the start. So what would you say were, the biggest challenges in scaling that quickly? And by extension, what systems of or culture elements helped you get there?
Okay, so 100% of my business has come from word of mouth. So the people that I have, the families that I have helped, is because they know me previously, or they know somebody that I helped.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest thing for me to scale is getting some visibility other than word of mouth. Um, Everybody that I hire is because they know me, or they know somebody else that works for the company. Um, so even though so that tells me that the things that we are doing are really good,
Yes.
because there are many other brokers that have not been able to hire the many people that I have, and they don't have the production that I have been able to achieve. And the only way that I have been doing it is by asking for business at the end of the transaction, either to the family that we are helping, the both realtors that are involved, the title company that we have to hire, the insurance agent that is providing us the quote for the insurance. So yeah, getting business from other streams have been the most difficult.
Okay. And honestly, that's really not the worst problem in the world to have, because to survive just by referrals, or to even, use referrals as one avenue to help get more leads, more clients, what have you, that's still very difficult in and of itself. So again, for you to be having your whole business run, pretty much all on referrals, like you said, you're definitely doing something right. That definitely speaks volumes on the types of relationships you've had and the work you've done for your clients. So that's tremendous. And then in terms of, scaling, I mean, have you ever considered any other, methods besides word of mouth to try to, bring in additional clientele?
Yeah, so I'm investing now in social media. Right now have a segment on a radio station. Um, so I have getting a couple leads. Nothing has materialized from those lead sources, even though we started very recently, about not even a month for the radio, and about 2 months for social media.
Mhm.
So once things start to materialize, I will be able to see, what I need to do differently.
Sure, absolutely. Things like that, whenever you start something new like advertising or just another method of trying to draw prospects. And yeah, you always got to give that a little bit before you can get some real data and then analyze the results. And we'll still talk about that a little bit later on too, because there's definitely more of a conversation to have there, especially with respect to another topic that we'll be talking about. But for right now, I still want to keep it, zoomed in on the present a little bit. So, can you walk me through what a typical day to day looks like for you? I know every day is going to most likely be very different, but, on average, if you could.
Okay, so what I try to do is I have to run a very low production and try to increase the production of all of the loan officers that I have on the company. So on the lending business, the compensation that you earn, and this is just to give you a background of the type of business that we're in, the
Sure.
amount of transactions that you're going to do are very limited. But at
Mhm.
the same time, the compensation that you're going to get for one transaction is going to be substantially high. For
Mhm.
example, a home in South Florida can cost $500,000. This is an entry level home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And the compensation that you're going to get is about $10,000, $11,000. So say that you only have 10 transactions in a month, you're going
Mhm.
to make 6 figures,
Yeah.
right? So, so that means that in order for you to get experience, it's going to be a couple years
Yeah.
because the average of any loan officer is between 70, uh, $60,000 a year. That means 6 to 7 transactions.
Mhm.
So the loan officer that is doing 10, 15 transactions, that person is overachieving compared to the media. But in 1 year or 2 years, that is not many transactions that he does.
Sure.
Say that you do 30 transactions in 2 years, you still have a lot to learn. There are many different transactions or many different loans that you haven't been able to do because most of the transactions that you do are from your sphere of influence. For
Mhm.
example, if you are a young person, for example, I myself, I'm fairly young. I'm 36. Most people my age or a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older, are purchasing their first home. I'm also an immigrant. So the people that I know, come to the country not many years ago, right?
Yeah.
So most of the loans that I do are people purchasing first time home, purchasing an entry level home. But that's my production. I have people
Mhm.
on the company that they are older, they are on a different income level, and the loans that they do are completely different to mine. So the company does all type of loans, but the loan officer, the individual loan officer, will have a particular niche.
Yes.
So what I try to do in order for all of the loan officers on the company to gain experience is to hop into teams with me,
Mhm.
let them see what I'm working on. That way, if I'm working on a transaction, they gain experience for it. So they can see what I'm working on. They can see um, all of the conditions that I'm working on a file that is already approved with condition. They can see what is the process of getting a file and submit it to the lender. They can see the work that we do at the beginning of finding a buyer, requesting the documentation, trying to qualify the buyer, and they are getting all of that experience for a file that is not their own. So I
Yes.
feel like the more that I do this, my loan officer are going to gain that exposure to a high production and get to where they need to be faster. So the day starts, 9 a.m. I'm in front of the computer. I'm already working on transaction, and I have a couple loan officers joining on teams with me, and then we explore my production. And once we do a pipeline call or every single file that we're working on, then another loan officer always jumps in. They have questions. Maybe the loan officer that is already on the call with me is trying to make a file work, and we explore that option with them. And that's pretty much my day from 9 to 5 every single day.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very, very consistent. And I love, the mentorship role you really, embraced and talked about there. I mean, everybody learns differently, sure, but especially for an industry like yours, I think that type of one-on-one experience, seeing it done live right in front of you, that way you can see the process, kind of make it your own a little bit and then make it repeatable going forward is, in my opinion, the best way to learn. I, learn by seeing
Yeah.
and then doing as well. So that's tremendous what you've done there. And you mentioned, when we first spoke, and you talked about this a little bit just now briefly, your company handles every loan type available, while your personal production is primarily first home buyers. So is there anything in particular, why the focus on first time buyers? And, what does a typical client journey look like for them?
like I said, right? So it's not that I'm focused on that particular type of loans. Is
Mm-hmm.
the people that reach out to me are
Okay.
most likely trying to purchase their first home
Mm-hmm.
because they know me, they are my age, they have my same situation. So those are the people that I deal with on a daily basis.
Sure.
But that doesn't necessarily transfer to every single loan officer that we have on the company.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lady that everything she does is investment, and her production is tremendously high. But she has relationship with all of the new construction buildings in Miami. So those high-rise buildings, she is close to all of those people. The one that sells those pre-sales construction. For example,
Yes.
when the building is built before the building is finished, they have to sell so many apartments. So
Mm-hmm.
she has already contracts that are closing next year that she's not able to submit, but she's going to do the loans for those people. And
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why she's doing those type of loans and I'm not is because she belongs to that group of people. So her spheres of influence are
Mm-hmm.
those type of people. So it makes sense for her to reinvest on that sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
So the same happened
Absolutely.
to me, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to call those past transactions. And guess what? The people that those people know are also first time home buyers. So those
Mm-hmm.
are the people that are going to be reaching out to me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm figured that as I get older, every family that I helped and they want to purchase their second home are also going to use me. As I grow older and my clientele grows older, the type of business that they will be doing will be different than what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So there is
Make
nothing wrong to helping your niche, right? But you have to know that every transaction that you do are going to come from your sphere of influence. Now, if I'm starting advertising in social media, I will be touching, more people.
sure.
Maybe somebody that is an investor sees some of my videos, and they say, okay, so let me call Lisandro. So my sphere of influence is not only helping first time home buyer. Now it's I'm helping investors as well, which the
Yeah.
company can do everything because we are a broker.
Mm-hmm.
And as brokers, we are partnered with many, many lenders. So it is amazing the way that it does because every wholesale lender is going to compete to have the best program, the best rate, and competition is amazing because it
Mm-hmm.
drops the rates. Everybody wants to have the best portal, the best program, have offer everything, and we are partnered with like 50 different wholesale lenders.
Wow.
So every time one lender start doing something, everybody else follows, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other lender start doing something different, and then everybody else follows. So by us working with every single lender, we're able to offer every loan available. We can
Mm-hmm.
do from down payment assistance to hard money lender, fix and flips, asset depletion. Say you don't have an income, but you are very well off because you are retired, you have some money invested. We can use the income from you having that amount of money, and
Mm-hmm.
we look at it as it's called asset depletion. So you're selling a percentage of your investment, and we use that as your monthly income, and we approve you on that monthly income that you have, even though you don't have a job. You don't have money coming in, but you have
Yeah.
money invested. So we can do all type of loans in order for you to get the home that you want.
Yeah, that's incredible based on just, what you're able to offer. And like you mentioned, several spheres of influence, different types of niches. You mentioned that one loan officer in particular who does mostly investments. You've done mostly first time home buyers. Is there any, other areas that you typically, see pretty often on a day to day besides those two?
Another loan officer that works with me, she was working with a guaranteed rate for many,
Mm,
many years before going to the broker side. And she specializes in down payment assistance.
mm.
And every county in South Florida. Where are you from, Michael?
I'm out of Rhode Island,
Okay,
Providence,
so in
like 10
South
minutes outside of Providence.
Nice, amazing. In South Florida, many counties they start offering down payment assistance in
Mm,
the range of $80,000, $100,000, $50,000, and that is money that the county is allocating, incentivizing low income families to purchase on that particular area. She
mhm.
specializes on those type of loans, and I see many loan estimate going from her, where she's helping the buyer with that $80,000 down payment assistance, and that is amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing that the client is able to purchase a home worth $200,000, and he's only have to pay back 120.
yeah.
That, like, the monthly payment is super low, but not everybody is able to do those type of loans because it requires great amount of time invested on learning all those type of programs. But she already comes with the experience,
Mhm.
and she
Yeah.
already, that is her bread and butter. So she does that all day.
Yeah, that's incredible to have so many different, diverse, loan officers working under you, helping all these different types of people, no matter what their situation may be. So again, really, really incredible stuff that you and your team have put together. And now that we've spoken, a little bit about, your business, your background, and what the day to day looks like here and what you do, I want to shift gears a little bit and focus to my favorite topic on AI. And when we initially spoke, you mentioned that you use AI almost every day now, Chat GPT for
Mhm.
better emails and communication, plus tools that calculate income, predict
Yep.
underwriting conditions so you can prepare files, more accurately and close faster.
Mhm.
So my question is, how has that changed your team's day to day and reduced, maybe some common issues with underwriters?
So usually, about a year ago or 2 years ago, when we have a very complicated file, we have to do a TBD scenario. So we
Mm,
have to collect all of the documents, run credit, send it to the bank without a contract. So it is a TBD to be determined. And then the underwriter, it was only going to review the income.
mm,
And then if I have a particular question, then I will type the scenario, the issue that I'm having, and the underwriter will gonna focus only on that particular issue. But it can take
mm,
3 days, 2 days in order for me to get an answer back. Right
yeah.
now, I can. Um, so I work with this lender, UWM, and they have ChatGPT, but for the lending guidelines, and they call it Chat UWM. And it's amazing the things that we can do with that. We can chat with the document. I can upload a document, and I can ask many questions about the document. And all of the information that I'm going to get back is related to the guidelines that
Mhm,
lender is able to make. That's
mhm,
all. That's all they know. And then it provides me the information that I need, and I get an answer like right there. I don't have to wait 3 days.
yeah.
So, say for example, you have, I don't know, bankruptcy 2 years ago, and you have a discharge status, and I want to figure out, will I be able to close this type of transaction? I can just ask the question. So I have this client, and you can do a full paragraph. The more information that you provide to the GPT on the other side, the better. And
Yeah.
it was gonna break down all of the information that is giving you, and it's gonna tell you, okay, so maybe for conventional you'll not be able to do it. Maybe I'm not able to do it for FHA either, but maybe I can do it with something else. It's going to provide you an alternative,
Yeah.
and it never tells you no. It breaks a path. So it
Mhm,
tells you, this is what you need to do, and if you do this, then the buyer will be able to find a home in this many months, this many years. And
yeah.
now I have a path. I put that client on a CRM. I put him on. Maybe I have to call him in 6 months after he completes this many tasks, and that's a buyer for the future.
Mhm,
So,
yep.
it has increased the amount of transactions that we can do, and have saved us a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for like, pretty mundane tasks like that and having to wait too, AI has just, blown away what you're able to do now. And that being a very good example that you mentioned. And you also mentioned earlier, a bit of let's just say, let's call this a clear wish list. You mentioned that an AI that, thinks and communicates like you and can
Yeah.
engage every incoming lead before you have to step in. So, what would that look like in practice, and how do you think it would impact production and team efficiency?
So the clients wants to feel like they matter, and and they always do. But sometimes when you are in the middle of a call with a bank, for example, that I'm talking to an underwriter on the other side, and we're trying to clear the last remaining condition. That is a very important call that I cannot simply hang up and attend to another to an oncoming lead, right?
Hmm.
So if I don't answer that lead and the lead hasn't spoken with me before, maybe there is a chance that I might lose it, right?
Sure.
So it would be nice, right, if when they call me, an AI agent will answer in the same way that I'm able to talk to chat UWM, and they'll know all of the guidelines. It will be
Hmm.
nice if an AI answering machine can take the call, take notes, and tell the other person that we're going to call them back, or maybe answer the question that the client has at that particular moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because, that's in this type of industry, my bread and butter essentially with what I've seen, work for others and how I've helped them with those types of solutions. Let me ask you this. When you originally spoke to my assistant, did you think you were talking to a real person?
I do.
That was my AI assistant, and that's a perfect example of, what you just described. There's two ways you can do it. This one was obviously through email, but there are, voice chatbots you can do also that will take calls. But really, how it works in practice is it's called an SDR, Sales Development Representative. So, you give it the criteria, the types of people that you want to reach out to. It sends the emails, gives an introduction, and then, it feels them out a little bit, trying to see if there's any real interest because, we don't want to, waste your time. That's the last thing we want to do. And then if there is an interest there after, it's been properly, deciphered, questions have been asked and, we got the answers we want, what it will do is it will just put it on the calendar and then you're good to go. So before me and you had our initial conversation, that's how it worked. You would just put on my calendar. We spoke because obviously I need to introduce myself first, given, the circumstances of how the appointment was set up. But yeah, it's all done for you. And then also there's, again, the voice option where it can take calls. You can put a chat bot even on your website, hi, welcome to, um, I apologize. What was Mortgages Nation. And, how can I help you today? Then somebody can type in what they're looking for. And then if it feels like it's a good fit and they need to speak to somebody live, again, can just get booked on your calendar and it's done for you.
Can I do that on social media?
Yes, you can.
That'll be amazing if we can
Yeah.
have that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can certainly have a discussion about that at a later time. But yeah, that's very, very within the realm of possibility here. And, thank you for sharing that again. So I appreciate it. Now, we just talked a little bit about AI in your practice. So, if we zoom out a bit, looking across the mortgage industry, is there anywhere you could see AI making a difference there? And also, by extension, do you feel it may still be underused?
Underuse, yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
I feel like the only thing that AI is going to struggle with is earning trust
mhm.
on the client.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people, they don't want to share some type of information. Some people wants to come in person to the office, and once a couple conversation, and once we meet in person, they open up.
Mm,
They open up, and they feel like the information that they're sharing is going to be not shared with everybody else. But who
mhm.
knows what's going to happen with your information once you upload it to a cloud?
Yes.
So how many people are going to have access to that to that information?
Mm,
Instead, if they send it over to me, and after I explain the situation, I always say that the only people that are going to see that documentation is me and the lender and the bank.
yes.
That's it. Nobody else. But what happens if an AI is handling your transaction from start to finish? What's going to
Mhm.
happen to that information once the file is closed,
Mhm.
right? Because
Well,
it's
I'm sorry, go
go ahead.
ahead. No, I was going to say, so, for example, if there is a transaction where we're going to need, certain information, obviously that's going to have to be protected, which it would be. But then, once the file is, concluded, the information just, stays with you. If you want to, what's a good example? If you're just submitting anything, it's going to just stay between you and the AI and, the person who's using it. So if you're, in charge of your website, the information would just go to you directly. So
Uh,
nobody else is going to get their hands on it. And also, too, there's going to be a type of screening where you want to just, again, have those conversations face to face because not everybody is comfortable giving out certain bits of information to AI, despite the fact that it's completely safe. And, I know mistakes have happened in the past, but we're at a point right now where that's really almost a non-issue. But if there is a subject where the client's not comfortable giving that out, that's why we have, the introductory type calls. Like, for example, I'll use me and you again. I didn't have the AI ask you anything really invasive or personal. It was really just to be like, hey, Mike has this podcast for industry growth leaders, for people like yourself, where you can come on, talk about you, your practice, your journey, how AI has affected it. Is that something you'd be interested in? And then that's it. Then it schedules the one-on-one call for me and you to actually have a more in-depth, meaningful conversation where stuff like that could be discussed. Does that make sense?
it does.
Yeah. So that's the general process. But again, when it comes to, submitting paperwork or other information, that's of course is very, safe and secure. Have you come across like an incident where, that was a problem or?
No, no, no. On the contrary,
No.
it's very helpful.
Mhm. Yeah. And so again, if we take a look at AI making a difference in the industry, have you seen anybody else, use it to different effects, or is it mostly just what we talked about earlier?
I have seen examples of what you just said.
Mhm.
Um, I just haven't found the right way to implement it on my business.
Mhm. Okay. I understand. And thank you again for, sharing your bit about AI there too. Definitely can talk more about that later. Right now, again, we talked a little bit about, your past, the present, how AI has affected the industry. And now as we get towards the tail end of the podcast, I want to take a little bit of a look at the future here. So, if we are looking ahead at the next, 6 to 12 months, let's say, is there some place where you want Mortgage Nation to be, whether it be, more loan officers, higher production volume, or expanded markets, maybe something else?
So right now we are in four different states. We are in Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas.
Mhm.
It will be nice if I'm able to hire more loan officers
Yeah.
and increase the production that I'm doing
Yes.
right now.
Mhm.
So the investment that I'm doing right now is on social media and the radio. Um, if there is another avenue that we could be invested in and benefit from that from that avenue, yeah, I'm very open minded to it.
Excellent. Definitely a good discussion to have there. And on a final note, one question that I always like to end with is, in your case, for any, loan officers or production managers thinking about going out on their own in today's day and age, what advice would you share about mindset, team building, and using technology?
Um, this is a very tough career to dive headfirst. I will say that the best advice that I can give them is find a mentor. Find
Mhm.
somebody that already made it, already have a great production, and is able to take you under their wings,
Yeah.
show you what a day to day looks like. This is not a career that necessarily you go to the office from 9 to 5. You're supposed to be out there earning business.
Mhm.
Say, for example, that 1 month you get 10 transactions and you spend the whole month working on those transactions. After
Yeah.
you close those, there is no more money coming in
Hmm.
because you didn't spend any time trying to get more business. So you have to find a mixture. Okay, so what is the least amount of time that I should be spending on a transaction that is already secure, that is already under contract? And
Mhm.
what is and then I need to spend the most amount of time trying to earn more business, because there is
Yeah.
always something that you can do to optimize once you get a transaction into your a transaction into your pipeline and try to get it closed. There is always things that you can do to optimize it and dedicate less and less time. For example, we have a processing company that we always hired, and they take the file from um, contract being accepted to the contract being cleared to close.
Mhm.
So that gives us time in order for us to earn more business. So we can use all the AI in the world. We can use many things to make our lives easier, but you have to control your own time. And there are many
Yes.
things on a new industry that you don't know that you need to be doing. So that mentor is going to make the difference.
Absolutely. And I hear that a lot from everybody. I've spoken to essentially mentorship, time management, both critical in a business like this, where essentially, you kill, you eat what you kill. And, it's great. You can have a good month, a good few months, even a good year. But, once that happens, it doesn't stop. The train keeps moving. You got to make sure that you've got that pipeline full, like you said, and always working to ensure you're gonna have that new business readily available.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. And Lisandro, again, thank you. This has been absolutely amazing. For our listeners, where can they go to learn more about Mortgages Nation or even reach out to you personally if they're looking for mortgage guidance, whether it be in the Miami area or beyond to the other states you mentioned?
Easiest is through my personal phone. My phone number is 305-797-8988. I'll always answer. If I don't answer, I will call you right back. And then my social media, Lisandro Sky and Mortgages Nation, the name of the company.
Outstanding. Well, thank you again, Lisandro. This has been a great conversation. Really appreciate your time, knowledge, and experience. Hope you have a good one. You take care.
My pleasure, Simon.